Welcome to a WANE 15 special presentation. Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana. Now here's your hosts, Pat Hoffman and Alyssa Ivinson.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this very special Veterans Day show. I'm Pat Hoffman.
And I'm Alyssa Ivinson. In this next hour, we're bringing you the stories of veterans, young and old, from here in Northeast Indiana and from across the country.
You will meet an Air National Guard pilot at the 122nd Fighter Wing flying the A-10s right here in Fort Wayne. One of the original Tuskegee Airmen now living in Virginia, and how some veterans are using running and biking to bring attention to veterans issues. Those are just a few of the stories on the way. Throughout the hour, you will also hear from Honor Flight Northeast Indiana.
In the last 9 years, the group's taken 30 flights to Washington, D.C., bringing more than 2,200 veterans to see the memorials built in their honor. All those flights are free to the veterans, thanks to fundraising and donations. In this show, you'll learn how you can support Honor Flight. If you'd like to help fund a flight, just go to donatehf.org. We'll also tell you how you or a veteran you know can sign up to be on a flight.
Well, veterans live and work all around us. They're your neighbors, next to you in line at the grocery store, and local business owners. Our first story takes us to a newer company right here in Fort Wayne. Three Rivers Distilling Company is owned and operated by veterans, with one employee who's extra special.
The entire time that we've been open, we've had someone from our small staff still serving in a deployed capacity somewhere around the world.
Aaron Pence joined the military just after 9/11.
I was going to college at the time, but just felt this need to go join the service. Ended up joining the Air National Guard in Fort Wayne. Our 122 is really cool because it's named in honor of the 122nd Fighter Wing, where we all met and served together.
Having returned from Afghanistan this summer, Pence still actively serves his country. He's also co-owner of Three Rivers Distilling Company and takes pride in hiring fellow veterans.
It wasn't our original idea to just go hire veterans, but it seems that everyone just kind of comes together that way.
See those horns over there? Yeah. I brought them.
Franklin B is awesome.
Well, around here I go by Bruce, but when I go out to events, I go by Franklin B.
Bruce is a Vietnam-era veteran. He has lived everywhere, done everything, and truly just has amazing stories.
These horns right here, they're Texas Longhorns.
Bruce had recently retired when his phone rang.
He said, "Hey, I hear you do drywall," and I was like, "Yeah."
Come to find out, he's an expert welder, which we need that. We have food-grade stainless stills and copper stills that we have to work on.
And when the job got done, I just never left.
And he wanted to learn about the bottles, and he wanted to learn about the barrels, and then he wanted to learn how to distill.
I'm always in competition with these younger guys here.
Bruce always jokes, we're a bunch of young guys, and Bruce is an older guy, and he said, you know, I'm going to go one day, and you guys are going to forget all about me. And we knew deep in our hearts that we were not going to forget about him, but we wanted to do something to kind of memorialize Bruce already.
This hat right here, I bought it back in the 80s.
This came from the distillers. They had this idea, and I thought it was a fantastic idea. So we decided to name our rye whiskey after Bruce.
I thought, what are we going to call it? They never told me. And good. I said, where's the labels? Aaron's got them. Aaron, I need the labels.
Bruce is a big, tough Texan, you know, and he kind of choked up a little bit. He put the label on and held it up and was just extremely proud.
He brought me a big old roll, and I didn't have time to look at it. I peeled one off and got ready to stick it on the bottle and went, oh, you guys. And I'm not a person that cries, but I damn near got a tear in my eye then. And then they got a picture of me up there holding a bottle. Have you seen that one? That's how it started right there.
That Franklin B rye whiskey is phenomenal. It's won a ton of awards out there, and it's Bruce. It's Bruce in a bottle.
What an amazing group they have at Three Rivers Distilling Company. And as Aaron said, they only have 7 full-time employees, and at least one has always been deployed. Well, this is facilities manager Brandon Chevron. He's currently deployed right now.
Now to something we never get tired of seeing, an extra special homecoming. Walter Hildebrand shows us the happy reunion in Virginia Beach.
For Marine Gunnery Sergeant Jarrell Williams, the weight of seeing his sons again hit him before he even walked through the doors of Allenton Elementary. So much so, he's overcome as to what they'll do once they get reacquainted.
I don't know yet. Spent time.
After a 7-month stretch in Kuwait, the 13-year veteran is here to surprise his sons, second grader Kal-El and first grader Kobe. They've missed a lot of time together.
Missing the holidays, the big chunk of the holidays, the Thanksgiving, Christmas, my son's birthday. So yeah, all the holidays basically, missing out on.
This secret surprise was orchestrated by his wife Audra and the staff at Allenton Elementary. So much so, even the normally reserved lunchroom crowd had no idea. With Jarrell waiting behind the curtain, Kal-El and Kobe were called to the stage.
How long has your dad been gone for?
7 months.
7 months? That's a really long time. And I understand he's a Marine. Is he a Marine?
Yes.
And when is he coming home?
April and I think the end of April.
The end of April. Check it out.
Hey buddy, you guys been good? Good? Miss you a lot. Love you, both of you.
With a big round of applause by the lunch crowd, the Williams family has a lot of catching up to do. Sergeant Williams will tell you that 7 months away will give you a lot of time to put things in perspective.
Just try and be more active in their life as best as I can, being away. Try not to take things for granted.
I'm Walter Hildebrand reporting.
And still to come on Veterans Voices, we'll show you how a local organization gives hope to homeless veterans in Fort Wayne.
But first, they're known as the greatest generation, World War II veterans. Up next, meet 4 of them, including one who remembers the moment the flag was raised at Iwo Jima.
We're all proud of them. We're proud of everybody that serves, and it's been an honor to serve our country.
Thank you for joining tonight's Veterans Voices. I'm Adam Brower with Honor Flight, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by several veterans from our areas. I'm also very happy to be joined here by Wing Commander Colonel Stoller of the 122nd Fighter Wing. Colonel, on this Veterans Observant Day, what are some messages that you might like to send special to the veterans that are watching tonight?
Sure, Adam. The men and women of the 122nd Fighter Wing just extend our great gratitude out to those men and women who have served our country over the last many years in many wars. Our thanks extends well beyond our fence line and our airmen who have just recently returned from their service, but to fine gentlemen like Mr. Hall who have served in major world wars. It's just really nice for us to be out here and be able to honor them today.
That's right. I couldn't say it better. Thank you so much for hosting us at every Honor Flight homecoming and every takeoff that we have in the morning, and we just appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
You bet, Adam.
Of the 3 veterans that I'm lucky to be joined with, if you would please introduce yourself, give us your name, your rank, and your branch of service.
Luann Boltmeyer, Command Sergeant Major, retired, United States Army.
Command Sergeant Major, retired, U.S. Army, Fritz Boltmeyer.
My name is Harrison Hull, and I was in the United States Air Force.
And Mr. Hull, I see that from your shirt that you went on an honor flight. Do you remember what year your honor flight was? And if you could, what words would you give to somebody that is still trying to decide to sign up?
My honor flight was 2012. And my words of advice to all veterans is this is an opportunity of a lifetime. By all means, take advantage of it.
Veterans, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you very much for your service, and we also want to thank all the businesses shown here on your screen that made tonight possible.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana.
The experience of the honor flight is just fantastic. Everybody should have the opportunity because we see so much and it's so interesting.
And welcome back. A World War II veteran in Virginia finally got an award that he's waited 71 years to receive.
94-year-old Bob White was a teenager when he fought in the Battle of the Bulge. He was awarded the Combat Infantry Badge back in the 1940s. In 1947, the military authorized veterans who earned the badge to also get the Bronze Star Medal. But White didn't know about that. Then staff at the Hampton, Virginia VA Medical Center and Virginia Congressman Scott Taylor's office worked to get White the medal.
Well, I want to thank everybody. And everybody's treated me so nice, like I'm somebody special.
White also has a Purple Heart. By the way, he also jogs 3 miles every other day.
Amazing man. Well, about 30 minutes from Hampton, Virginia, a hero walks the streets of Williamsburg. Dr. Harry Quinton is one of the original Tuskegee Airmen. He traveled across the country fixing the planes flown by African-American pilots. Quinton says he was in awe the first time he saw them take to the sky. While the rest of the world was fighting evil abroad, the Tuskegee Airmen had their own fight at home.
We knew they expected us to fail, and we knew we weren't going to fail, and we were determined to show the Air Force and everybody else that we could do anything else they could do. So that was the attitude.
Quinton worked for Pan American Airlines after finishing his amazing service in the military.
Honor Flight was started in 2005 in part to take World War II veterans to see their memorial in D.C. This May, I went along with Honor Flight Northeast Indiana. Of the 85 veterans on that flight, 6 were World War II veterans, and 1 was Jack Holm.
Welcome to your memorial, sir.
To Jack Holm.
Oh, this is something, huh?
The World War II memorial.
Oh, and it's beautiful.
Is a trip back in time.
I was on the ship close to all these places. Tinian, right. That's where we docked, and I went in for supplies.
Okay.
And that's where they was unloading the atomic bomb for Japan.
Were you there when they flew out?
Yeah, we pulled out, and then I was 300 miles from Indianapolis when it sunk.
Strangers stop for a history lesson that they can't read in a book.
I've been around long. I was on the U.S. past Conaway. But we had good equipment, and it wasn't up to date, nothing like today.
When the war broke out, Jack was still 17.
I was going to enlist in the Air Force. My mother wasn't signing for me. And then I come back, and a year later, then I enlisted in the Navy.
Jack served from 1944 to 1946 on the USS Passaconaway.
I was all over.
Now seeing those places of war etched in stone.
It brings back memories.
Brings back memories, doesn't it?
Big time.
Yep.
Can't imagine.
Letting the fountain fill the silence. Taking moments to pause. And reflect.
I got all these places I've been, you know.
At 94 years young, around the memorial built in his honor, this World War II veteran feels the thanks of a country, one handshake at a time.
This has probably been the most interesting day of my life. I tell you, I've never shook so many hands in my life. I've never thought that people would appreciate what I've done in my life. It's fantastic, fantastic, it really is. Yeah. It's amazing.
We all appreciate you very much, Jack. Well, another World War II veteran on the honor flight last month was at Iwo Jima when the iconic flag was raised. Alan Akins was about 20 years old when he was a Marine serving in the Pacific. Seeing the Iwo Jima Memorial in D.C. brought memories flooding back.
Made 2 invasions before Iwo Jima, and I thought that I would never be home again. I just gave up the idea of ever being go back alive. And I turned like this, and I see him raising the flag. And I said to my friends, it looks like we've got a chance of getting back home. I don't think there's a day goes by that I don't think of the Iwo Jima flag, because the guys that gave their life, so many of them, I think of it, how they fought and how many were killed so that we could have freedom in this country. And we all volunteered, and we were very proud Marines, and I'm still a Marine today.
Alan came home and married Camille in 1949. She also served in World War II and rose to the rank of sergeant. Camille just passed away last month at the age of 95. The two had 4 children, 10 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren. Still to come on Veterans Voices, we hear from a Pearl Harbor survivor and a woman who was inspired to join the military after 9/11.
But up next, one last flight in a B-25. You don't want to miss this 95-year-old story.
I was a mechanic on General May's plane. I worked on that, then other airplanes too. C-54s, B-50s, and C-97s.
Thank you for watching tonight's Veterans Voices. We're inside the Allen County Public Library Genealogy Center, one of the top-rated genealogy locations in the entire country. I'm Adam Brower with Honor Flight Northeast Indiana, and we're lucky enough to be joined by Kurt Witcher, manager of the department here. Kurt, you have a very neat program for our veterans here in the community. Would you tell us a little bit about it?
Our Life Story Center is really a program of the library to record life stories and people's experiences. We like to say in the genealogy space, every generation there's the possibility that someone in our family served in the military, and we're just so pleased to be working with Honor Flight to have veterans, give them an opportunity to talk about their experience on Honor Flight, to talk about their experience in the military, talk about their experience on the home front. Again, every generation there exists the possibility that one of our ancestors, one of our family members served in the military. The Honor Flight program is so awesome in giving them an amazing day, really a pinnacle day. And we like to think that we give them a life or an opportunity to talk about their life. In addition to this audio recording room here that's available every hour the library is open, we also have 3 studios where they can actually video record their life stories as well. And many veterans have taken advantage of that aspect of our Whole Life Stories initiative. We're just really fortunate to be able to honor our veterans by providing them with an opportunity to share their life with their family and the community.
Every veteran should take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Kurt, thank you so much for what you're doing. If you would like to see an extended interview about this opportunity, please check out our Facebook page. Also tonight, we would like to thank the businesses on your screen who made tonight possible.
Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana continues. Now here's your hosts, Pat Hoffman and Alyssa Ivinson.
For some veterans, reminders of wartime can be tough.
But this year, one World War II veteran in Virginia chose to relive a piece of his time in uniform.
Amy Simpson has his story.
A different kind of celebrity.
Russell Scott. How do you do, sir? It's an honor to have you here.
On the tarmac that day. A different kind of plane, too. A B-25, just like the one Russell Scott served on during World War II.
Now here's my pilot, the co-pilot, and the bombardier.
Russell was forced to jump 9,000 feet from that warplane after both engines were shot out back in 1944.
I never had a bad time other than when I was in the prisoner of war camp. That wasn't too bad, but with a broken back, it was kind of bad.
He was just 24 at the time and never fully healed.
25th of May, we were shot down.
74 years later, a B-25 shows up in Russell's hometown of Richmond, Virginia, on its way to an air show in Virginia Beach. Rolling onto the tarmac that day.
How old were you the last time you flew in one of these planes?
24.
Okay, and how old are you now?
98.
Wow, amazing.
Russell says they've tried to get him back in a B-25 twice.
I haven't been inside one since I've come out of it.
He's sharp as a tack, though his body doesn't move as freely as it did when he sat in that tail gunner position.
And what kind of gun was here that you were in charge of?
Caliber 50 machine guns, 2 of them.
As we went over our pre-flight instructions, Russell started climbing the ladder all on his own.
No, we need somebody up there. I'm always determined.
Once he was inside the plane, he wasn't coming back out.
I could get in the plane easy then. Didn't have to worry.
The air was thick and hot. No air conditioning, just the smell of engines.
How you feeling?
I'm okay.
There's no way to know what was going through Russell's head during takeoff. Just a simple wave before a 20-minute flight into blue, sunny skies over his hometown.
I just feel like that I wanted to be back in the B-25.
The look on his face saying it all. This vet was at home, away from home.
We were in Corsica. We were stationed in Corsica.
Inside his plane for the first time in 7 decades.
There you go. I'm down.
Welcome back to Earth. Good job.
Back on solid ground, this time no parachute required.
I enjoyed being there. It felt like I was 24 years old again. Now, I've had my last ride in a B-25.
I'm Amy Simpson reporting.
Russell Scott volunteers every week at the Virginia War Memorial, where guests are captivated by his firsthand account of events straight from the history books.
Coming up on Veterans Voices, we take you to the 122nd Fighter Wing in Fort Wayne and introduce you to the Black Snakes.
What has surprised me the most is that I see so many people coming up and thanking me for my service, and I guess I just didn't expect that.
Hi, I'm Adam Brower with Honor Flight, Northeast Indiana. Thank you for joining us tonight for Veterans Voices. I'm joined by two very special guests, George Carter and Janet Geib. George is CEO of Paulding Putnam Electric Co-op. Please tell us a little bit about the fundraiser you guys did 2 years ago to raise funds for Honor Flight and kind of what that experience was for you.
Well, Adam, thank you for including me today. It was just a fantastic experience. Our folks really stepped up, and it was really a collaboration of all of our employees and the community to raise not only money for one flight, but $170,000 that funded 2 flights. And that really was just a tremendous experience for myself personally and all of our folks.
George, thank you very much for all your hard work and for joining us tonight. Now with another special and unique story, Janet Geib. Janet, would you be willing to tell us a little bit about why you chose to fund an entire honor flight and what that meant for you?
Well, it all is in the name of our precious freedom and democracy. And without it, we have basically nothing. But it was an amazing experience, and you come back a different person. And we have to thank those veterans and their families, the past, the present, and the future, for that freedom. And we must continue to protect it.
That's right. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you for your gift and for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Yes. George, Janet, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Veterans, thank you very much for your service. If you would like to make a donation to Honor Flight, please visit our webpage where you can make a donation through that channel. Also, you can see extended interviews with our guests on our Facebook page. And we would also like to thank these businesses who have made tonight possible.
Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana continues.
Godspeed, and thank you for your service.
When you think of Fort Wayne and the military, the 122nd Fighter Wing likely comes to mind, and you've probably heard the A-10s roaring overhead. Our next story tonight takes us to the base and up close and personal with the Black Snakes. As the sun rises on the 122nd Fighter Wing, the A-10 fighter jets start to wake up, slithering down the tarmac. Because in Fort Wayne, black snakes fly. Behind a giant garage door on the Air National Guard base, mechanics keep the A-10s mission ready.
For every pilot, there's probably 10 other troops who are supporting us getting this airplane off the ground.
Lieutenant Colonel Brian Jandorf started flying the A-10s 15 years ago.
We're flying a single-seat fighter jet, whether it be here in Indiana or in Afghanistan, and for just about all of us, it's a dream come true since childhood.
Jandorf grew up in Wisconsin and remembers the first time he laid eyes on what would be his future.
I was in downtown Appleton, Wisconsin for the Flag Day Parade, and 2 A-10s came over what I thought at the time was right at rooftop level, And this was in the early 80s, so when the rules were a little bit different, so it may have been right at rooftop level.
He joined the Air Force right out of high school, then went to flight school, and in 2003 took his first flight in an A-10.
It was a realization of my dream as a kid that I always wanted to be a fighter pilot, that I got to fly the airplane that I wanted to fly as a kid.
The A-10s, known as the Warthogs, are at 11 bases across the country, one here in Fort Wayne at the 122nd Fighter Wing, and the A-10s here are known as the Black Snakes.
Just goes back to it being kind of indigenous to this part of Indiana.
The jets were designed in 1975 for close air support.
Supporting the Army, Marine Corps soldiers on the ground as they advance against the enemy.
With a 30mm Gatling gun on the front.
Designed to be used against vehicles.
And under the wings?
There's 11 pylons. In 2018, we're mostly carrying GPS-guided and laser-guided bombs.
On any given morning, this is what you'll see at the 122nd Fighter Wing, the squadron of A-10s getting ready for daily flight drills. That way they're ready for any federal or state mission at a moment's notice.
The Air Force gives us a big laundry list of all the mission sets and skills that we need to be good at in order to deploy and support the combatant commander and ultimately the soldier or Marine on the ground.
Just like it would be on a deployment, the crew chiefs do checks and rechecks, getting the plane ready for the pilot. Once he's suited up, it's more safety and weapons checks before it's time for flight.
Most of the time in Fort Wayne, when you see us flying around, you'll see two of us. And if you don't see us very close together, we're probably a mile and a half apart from each other.
The base brings a big benefit to the city, with more than 1,000 people filling the campus every drill weekend.
For the people of Fort Wayne, it's their neighbors, their friends, their colleagues that are out here doing this mission. We are just regular people or ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
For us civilians, we just have to look up.
Hopefully, and I always think this, that there's some kid on the ground that sees that and says, I want to do that, and hopefully their path brings them out here to the 122nd Fighter Wing.
To feel the force.
We're always looking for, the next black snake that wants an adventure.
Of the Black Snakes. The A-10s have been at the 122nd since 2010.
Coming up later in Veterans Voices, we'll show you how a local organization gives hope to homeless veterans in Fort Wayne.
But first, he remembers the attack on Pearl Harbor like it was yesterday. Now this veteran helps the next generation learn history in a way books can't teach.
I'm just glad that there's people who are willing to donate their money so people like me can have this experience.
We're at the Heritage Point of Huntington. This is one of the fine assisted living centers here in our own backyard. This is also home to several veterans that have already been honored with their trip to Washington, D.C. Now, we know that not all veterans are physically able to make the trip. We've been asked on several occasions if there are ways that we can honor veterans who are physically not able to make the trip. Central Missouri Honor Flight pioneered an opportunity for veterans, like my friend Bob here, to be able to go to Washington without physically making the trip. Thanks to a generous donation from the Fort Wayne Verizon Wireless store on Illinois Road, we've been able to create a virtual reality tour of the memorials in Washington, D.C. This VR experience can be brought to a veteran's bedside or wheelchair. These short films create immersive experiences for terminally ill and aging veterans using 360-degree and 3D technologies. This isn't meant to replace the Honor Flight Day, but we know that aging veterans have special needs and special circumstances that sometimes don't allow them to travel. If that's the case for you or for one of your loved ones, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to provide information about our virtual reality experience. Also, if your situation changes and you're physically able to make the trip with us, we would love that, and we would be happy to get you scheduled on a later trip. Veterans, remember, visit our webpage, get your application, and sign up today. And lastly, we want to thank the local businesses who, without their support, would not be able to have made tonight possible.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices with your hosts, Pat Hoffman and Alyssa Ivinson.
There are only 4 surviving Pearl Harbor veterans living in Hawaii right now.
It might have been 77 years ago, but one 95-year-old Navy veteran remembers it like yesterday. Kathy Menino has a story.
Morning, sir.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Everett Highland.
Hello.
Fist bumping.
You give fist bumps, there you go.
Quipping.
Every day above ground is a good one.
Obliging.
Can we take your picture?
Certainly.
Okay. Take a picture with you?
Yes.
Thank you.
At Pearl Harbor's Arizona Memorial Visitor Center, volunteering his time for 23 years now 95 years old.
It gets me out of the house.
And close to his memories as an 18-year-old sailor on the Pensy, the battleship USS Pennsylvania.
I was a smart teenager. I figured if we ever go to war, the last place in the world I want to be stuck is in the radio quarters down in the middle of the ship.
And that's where he was, December 7th, 1941, when peace shattered.
This is not a drill. This is not a drill. General quarters, all hands man your battle station.
The Pensy was in dry dock across Battleship Row. Highland ran up to the battle station on the aft deck. He says 5 high-altitude bombers flew overhead.
They all released their bombs at the same time, and we took one hit.
The ship's downs and caisson in front of the Pensy destroyed. Behind, smoke billowing from the Arizona.
The other fellows with me, Harold Comstock, Clarence Ross, Joe Mahofsky, Jim Owen, Joe Pace, were killed.
Highland wounded beyond recognition.
And he came over and he bent over and he looked at me and he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "It's Highland." And all he did was back away going, very good for the morale. Evidently, I was quite a mess.
9 months of recovery and he was back on the ship, only left the Navy after the war ended.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Highland's a retired elementary school science teacher. He moved to Hawaii in the year of the 50th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor when he met his wife, Miyoko, from Japan.
Thank you.
He used to volunteer here 5 days a week. Now it's down to 1, with no plans of going to none.
I'm as proud as these fellows are with their uniform on. They're in a great organization, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir, for your service.
At Pearl Harbor, I'm Kathy Muneno.
Remarkable story. Coming up on Veterans Voices, the wounds of war are not always seen.
And not easily healed. Next, one Marine struggle with PTSD after coming home and how she worked to find herself again.
I was the first member out of my family to go into the military, but I had 5 other brothers to go in. And my daughter, she joined, and my 2 sons joined the military. But here, it's just worth all the time you put in to see it.
Welcome back. One of Honor Flight's biggest goals is to get veterans signed up with their trip to Washington, D.C. We are still taking World War II, post-World War II, and Korean War veterans. At this time, we are asking Cold War era veterans and Vietnam era veterans to sign up for their trip, which will be coming. Please visit our webpage and download your application. With me now is Honor Flight Northeast Indiana Board President and Vietnam veteran Dennis Covert. Dennis, we have family and sometimes veterans that ask us a little bit about the sign-up process. Would you be able to walk us through that a little bit?
Oh, thank you, Adam. That's a good question, and it comes up frequently. And the process to go on an honor flight begins with the veteran submitting an application. And having that filled out and getting it to us, we acknowledge that we received the application by sending the veteran a postcard. And then the veteran is placed into a waiting list. Now, the priority to go on an honor flight starts with World War II veterans and veterans of any era who are terminally ill. Next, post-World War II, that's after World War II, but before the Korea War. Then Korea veterans. Following that is the Cold War era, and then following that is the Vietnam and the Vietnam era. So it's important to realize that veterans can go, it's not where you served, it's when you served in the era that determines when you are placed in line and when you will get to go on an honor flight.
That helps us understand the process. Thank you very much, Dennis, and thank you for your service. Veterans, don't wait. Don't hesitate. Please visit our webpage, download your application, and send it to us today. On behalf of Honor Flight Northeast Indiana, we send a big thank you to the veterans who are watching tonight. Thank you for your service. We also want to thank the families of the fallen heroes for their sacrifices. Veterans, without your efforts, their efforts, we could not and would not have the freedoms that we have today. Thank you very much. God bless America, and enjoy the rest of the program.
Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana continues.
Well, after September 11, thousands of American troops deployed to serve in the war on terror overseas.
It's one of the greatest sacrifices our service members make, leaving their families behind to serve our country. But for many of them, the wounds of war, seen and unseen, have not fully healed. Anita Blanton has the story of one Marine's struggle to find herself again.
Taniki Richard has truly been to war and back, fighting first for her country and then to be the best version of the woman she was before she left.
I get the famous, well, there's nothing, you don't look like anything's wrong with you. Well, you haven't walked in my shoes.
Let's go back to September 11th, 2001. Those shoes were in a military entrance processing station, or MEPS, for Taniki to take an oath to protect our country. When it became increasingly evident we were under attack.
All of a sudden, right on television, I saw the towers fall. My heart dropped into my stomach. But I knew that I signed up for this.
To leave her young child and put her life on the line.
It wasn't an option for me to back out at that moment. There was so much pain and tragedy and shock going on.
She spent 13 months in Iraq serving in Operation Iraqi Freedom, time that led to more life-changing, life-threatening moments along the way.
I was flying a night mission over to another foreign operation base when we were shot at from enemy ground fire. It changed my life forever. It really set me on a course that I would never have thought.
The signs of post-traumatic stress disorder began to slowly invade her life. Night sweats, insomnia, anger. Reality was slipping away.
I would feel like I was back on the aircraft being shot at again in the middle of a stoplight. So people would honk their horns and say, "Come on, come on." And I would be back in Iraq.
She says she just couldn't make her brain work the way it used to, but after years of suffering and medically separating from the Marines, she found help that not only lifted her spirits, but had her lacing up her soles to accomplish new goals.
When I showed up to WWP events, they received me with love, understanding, and I had that camaraderie again.
The Wounded Warrior Project helped her to become a motivational speaker, and she says encouraging others now helps her to get out of bed each day. It's a journey she never thought she'd take.
I was not prepared for signing up and then having to go straight into war.
But she says she'd do it all over again. I'm Anita Blanton, reporting.
For some veterans, stand-up comedy is the best therapy. A comedy boot camp at a Washington, D.C. improv club is helping veterans heal through laughter, as well as providing a way to support and connect with other vets. Marine Corps veteran Stephanie Klein turned to stand-up comedy to help her through some of her darkest times, returning home from service, finding herself unemployed, and getting back into the dating pool after 2 divorces.
It's really difficult to laugh about someone who's been shot, someone who has PTSD, someone like me who just was lost and depressed for a while and had failed relationships. There's a space created where you trust that the people laughing are laughing with you and not necessarily at your situation.
The Comedy Boot Camp is a 7-week program that teaches veterans how to write comedy and perform.
A lot of people still don't know the struggles veterans face or what to do to help them.
Up next on Veterans Voices, the story of how a Fort Wayne soldier is running to change that.
My experience here is nothing but awe. Every experience we've had here has been almost difficult to discuss because of it, because of the feeling that you get.
My name is Corporal Matthew Keppel. I am currently a Sentinel badge holder here at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I have been here for roughly 16 months, 8 of which I have been a qualified Sentinel. Prior to this, I was back as a military police officer with the 3rd United States Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard. We are actually the individuals that are given the honor of guarding the unknown soldiers. Anytime an honor flight comes in, it's always a different aspect. It's always a different atmosphere. It's us going to a certain level above and beyond what we usually do to ensure that we give them the best performance that we can, to make sure that they understand the importance of them and the importance of their service. And we want them to understand that we respect them for that, and that we, as Tomb Guards, are attempting to at least pay back for these individuals who have sacrificed so much for our country. The Tomb Guards are always on guard. Through rain, sleet, snow, hurricanes, terrorist attacks, there has been an individual outside guarding the unknowns 24/7 since 1937, no matter what. So a lot of times whenever we're on the mat, of course, we are ceremonial composure, so we cannot speak, we can't smile or anything like that. However, we speak with our feet. So we have metal on the bottom of our feet and the side of them. A lot of times, anytime we're walking past them, we will scrape them. You'll hear the bottom of our feet scraping the granite on the floor. That's our way of, in quote, or in essence, thanking them for their service, acknowledging that we respect what they've done. And then a lot of times, if we have additional personnel or if we can accommodate for it, we are more than willing to send somebody out to speak with them, interact with them, answer questions that they may have, share stories, anything like that, and then just further impress our gratitude for them.
We want to give a special thanks to these local businesses that help make tonight's program possible.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana.
It is a staggering number, 22. That's how many veterans die by suicide every day. It's a number one Fort Wayne soldier is running to erase. Every step, every breath, about more than the mile.
It gives me the opportunity to spend a couple quick seconds with somebody and thank them for their support, and maybe mention, some of the different issues, facing veterans.
Sergeant First Class John Garrett joined the Army National Guard when he was 17, still in high school.
I wanted to make a difference.
Over the last 22 years, he's served as a combat medic in the infantry and deployed to Iraq in 2006. One of his bosses was a big runner.
And if you worked for him, you had to run. And I hate running, but he got me running, so we started doing races together.
But when Garrett got hurt 3 years ago, that running turned into a mission with meaning.
To kind of pick up the slack, I started carrying a rucksack. At that point, people was like, hey, why are you carrying that? And I decided I wanted to try to do something to promote veterans' causes and bring awareness to the suicide epidemic that the veteran population is undergoing right now. And so I just started doing the races in uniform, sometimes carrying a flag.
You might have seen Garrett earlier this year in Fort for Fitness. He did the 10K in full military gear.
Fort Wayne has such tremendous support for veterans and for the military, and I'll be running down the road or jogging, and people will just reach out. They want to touch hands, high five. People want to talk and say thank you for your service and things like that. It's really great.
Suited up in the 50-pound rucksack, it's a service people can see, so Garrett can share the message of struggles many don't see.
All right. Throughout the country, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. That statistic for veteran suicide is so alarming, and we have to do something to reach out to these people who have been through our country's wars, been through the battles, and help them connect with the home front. And if this message reaches one person, that they can reach out to somebody who's facing that struggle of depression and isolation, that's what I want.
With each race, each step, Garrett spreads hope.
There's so many resources out there that maybe veterans aren't aware of, That we just need to get that information out there and let them know that we're there for them.
Garrett's next race for awareness is later this month, the Fantasy of Lights 5K.
Well, from running to biking, one veteran says he wants to turn 1,500 miles into $150,000 to help his fellow service members. Brett Hall met up with this remarkable soldier in Virginia.
After biking 120 miles in one day, most people likely wouldn't agree to a bike race.
3, 2, 1, go!
But you will quickly learn Ricky Raley isn't most people. There isn't a challenge he won't take on.
I've been on variations of this style of bike for about 10 years now.
Raley was paralyzed from the waist down after he was involved in a car wreck in 2009. Nearly 6 months earlier, he had returned from serving in the Army in Iraq, where he says an IED explosion left him with brain damage. Yet none of that is why he's riding from New York City to Tampa, making sure he stopped in Virginia Beach.
It's important to come here and reach this market because there's so many veterans in this area.
Veterans he knows are suffering on the inside.
We came home with everyone, but after we got home, within 2.5 months, we lost our first guy for suicide, and then it just kept going, and then the number just keeps going. So I need to stop that, not just for my guys, but for everyone out there.
So it's why he's talking to everyone, raising money for the Boot campaign that works with vets to improve their lives. No matter the issue, traumatic brain injury, PTSD, chronic pain, insomnia, Raley says there is help.
No one needs it more than you.
I'm Brett Hall reporting.
And if you are a veteran struggling with mental illness or considering suicide or know someone who is, call the Veterans Crisis Line, that number 800-273-8255 for help.
Veterans in need can also reach out to the Shepherd's House in Fort Wayne.
Up next, we'll show you how the group is working to give veterans hope.
Got to see a lot of things, a lot of history, and you could see where you've been and what other people have been. I wish other people would come and realize what we have. And, you know, sometimes we're losing history, you know, and come back and see it.
Hi, we're out here tonight at Phil's One Stop. We're at the Fernhill Avenue location just behind Glenbrook Mall. This is one of 17 locations with one more on the way. Phil and Renee Carper join me now. They are the brains and all the work behind Phil's. Now, you guys have a plan here in the works. You contacted Honor Flight and you wanted to do something special for our veterans. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Phil and I have been very blessed to live in this country, to have all that we have, and we wanted to do something to give back. And as we've done other fundraisers in the past, we decided that Honor Flight would be a great one to support an entire flight to send 85 veterans and their chaperones out to D.C. to show them we're thankful, we're gracious for what they've done for us. So we're going to spend this entire year collecting money at our registers. We have coin jars at our registers. People can stop by and give a donation. The month of November, we're going to do Roundup for Veterans, so you can round your bill up, and that money will go towards, for the veterans, towards the Honor Flight. We'll be doing stuff in early next year, a coupon drive, different things to, different other Phillip Fridays this summer. We're not sure exactly what we're doing, but somehow we'll work it out to where we can do something to benefit the veterans also in our fundraiser here. So we're fortunate we have great customers, great employees, and we're really excited to do this fundraiser.
Wow, Phil and Renee, what a wonderful blessing. Thank you so much for your gift. Thank you for all your hard work. Please, if you would like to contribute to their donation, stop into one of their 17 locations or check out our webpage. Veterans, your time to sign up is now. Please visit our webpage, get an application, and sign up today. And finally, we couldn't have made tonight possible without the generosity of all the local businesses you see on your screen. Thank you very much.
Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana continues.
Fort Wayne was recently named one of the top cities in the country for veterans to live. Veterans United Home Loans ranked Fort Wayne number 13. The study looked at economic wellness, employment, availability of VA benefits, and quality of life for veterans. But some veterans need more help than others. And for the last 20 years, Shepherd's House has been trying to be their light in their darkness. Shepherd's House is transitional housing for homeless veterans battling addictions. And for some, it's been a godsend.
You know, there is hope. That's our motto here. Veterans help veterans here. We really want veterans to know that there is a place for them, that no matter what they've done, there's no shame. We're here to help them put their life back together.
They signed the dotted line on that check that they were willing to give their life for the service of this country and your and my freedom. They deserve a lot more respect than what I think America really gives them.
Respect is a big part of what Shepherd's House is all about. It was founded in 1998 by former Marine Lonnie Cox and his wife Barb. Tracy and Kenny Barr have been the house managers for almost 7 years.
It really means the world to me. My brother was a veteran, and I missed it. Flat missed it. Lost him to alcohol. Losing him reminded me that, hey, the veterans in this community need some help.
That help comes in many different forms.
We're very different. We're faith-based, which makes the big draw for Kenny and I. We believe without faith, men in recovery will not last long-term.
We don't believe in the Bible-thumping thing, but we like to live it out in front of everybody, and we're not shy about talking about Jesus and God and everything and what he does for us.
Good afternoon, Shepherd's House.
This place is the real thing. For a lot of folks here, it's a psychological problem, a health problem. This is the place to deal with it. This is a second chance.
We always say we have all the tools to your tool belt, but you have to pick up the tools and use them.
Guys hold you accountable. We police each other. If somebody's messing up or somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to, take care of one another.
Shepherd's House has a flavor to it. Everyone participates. It's required. And it creates harmony.
A very difficult transition coming in here is just making that initial jump to be like, hey, I need help, and seek out somebody who actually helped me, and then come here.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, and we'll go. If a guy's serious about his recovery, we will go to the end of the planet for him.
Daryl Wynn is a perfect example of a guy taking advantage of a second chance. He served 12 years in the Marines, but had a tough time when he got out. Now he just passed his 100-day mark at Shepherd's House and is enrolled back in school. He starts at Purdue Fort Wayne in January, and eventually he wants to help other veterans transition from the military to civilian life.
At some point, you've probably thanked a veteran for their service. Up next on Veterans Voices, hear just how much those words can truly mean.
I think we're honored to have people that will contribute and allow us to participate in the Honor Flight program. And when we're here, there's so much enthusiasm about us being here.
On a recent trip to Washington, some of our DC-based partners took the opportunity to send a special message to the veterans watching tonight's broadcast.
I've been lucky enough to be a tour guide with several honor flights, and one of the best things is that history comes to life. It's one thing to hear about it or to read about it, but when you meet a veteran that witnessed the flag raising on Iwo Jima or was fighting in Bastogne, and you hear those stories, it's wow. And even the same thing now with the Korean veterans and learning their stories of how cold it was and all the things that they had to do to make it through. These guys were 17, 18, 19 years old, and when the nation called on them, they stepped up.
Any veteran who hasn't signed up for Honor Flight, don't be afraid. Please, please contact your local Honor Flight hub or have a family member do it for you.
I would encourage them to come and pay their final respects, reflect on this significant moment that they have actually gone through in their lives. They're hesitant to come. It might be difficult for them, we understand, but they're not alone. They're full of other individuals who they didn't serve side by side, but they served during the same time periods. They've served, they know the hardships that each other have felt. And most importantly, we hear a lot of individuals that they come here and they get closure.
My hope is that each of you allow yourselves to come on an honor flight to allow us to give you the love, respect, and gratitude that you guys deserved back in the day. It's a chance for us to redeem our country and to give that to you. My hope is that you will give yourself that same opportunity.
We want to give a special thanks to these local businesses that help make tonight's program possible.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices of Northeast Indiana.
And we close tonight with 5 words. Thank you for your service.
And their 5 words veterans on the honor flight hear hundreds of times. In Washington, D.C., these veterans
thank you for your service.
Can't get far.
Thank you, sir, for your service.
Without being stopped.
Enjoy your memorial. We appreciate you.
These heroes.
Sir, thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Finally treated like celebrities.
I got out of the Army in 1955. This is the most respect I got from anybody.
I didn't expect that, but I was really happy about it.
It's been more attention today than I'm used to getting, but I guess maybe it's good for patriotism.
Very surprising. Especially the kids.
I've never shook so many hands in my life. I've never thought that people would appreciate what I've done in my life.
But we as a nation are so grateful.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I
really appreciate it.
And when the younger generations thank the greatest generation,
I appreciate you young kids.
They get a thank you back.
Thank you for your service.
No, thank you.
I thank them. I thank them for saying that and thinking of me that way, because you know when I enlisted, I just did what I thought was right, along with a lot of people.
Thank you.
And no, this is really, really great.
Especially a lot of young people that you understand can't understand what it's like to have been in the service. Thank you.
I'm glad you young people appreciate what so many of us done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
On this Veterans Day and every day, all of us here at WANE 15 thank all veterans and active duty servicemen and women for their service.
We also thank you for joining us for this last hour, recognizing and honoring the brave men and women who fight for our freedom.
If you'd like to see their stories again, we have all of them and web-exclusive stories on a special Veterans Voices page on WANE.com. You can find it under the News tab.
Thank you again for watching tonight.
Good night.